Welcome back. According to the White House press office, over 100,000 people from Afghanistan have been taken out of that country since the end of July. Some are coming to Connecticut to start their new lives. Joining us to talk about what they face in resettlement is Dr. Chris Haynes. Dr. Haynes is an associate professor of political science, national security, and legal studies at the University of New Haven. Dr. Haynes, thank you for being with us. Tell me first, who are we talking about? Who are these people who may be coming to Connecticut from Afghanistan?
Thank you very much for having me today, Eric. We're talking about the Afghan refugees, many of whom worked as interpreters or as support personnel, or actually fought alongside our troops in Afghanistan to help assist our troops. And so these are the people that we're talking about. Obviously, there are a lot of Americans and support personnel that are also coming back, but the ones that you want to focus on are those Afghans.
So what is their status when they get here? Are they automatically in a process? What happens once they have their feet on the ground here in America?
Yeah, I mean, I guess before that question, I just wanted to make clear that, there is a thorough vetting process. Many of them have already been through years of this vetting process. And this is with the special immigrant visa program I'm sure you've heard about. And this goes through background checks, interviews, and the like. And so, Americans can rest assured that, a lot of these Afghans that are coming here have already been vetted, not only in the special immigrant visa program, but prior to that, the United States is not going to allow Afghans to fight alongside our troops if they don't trust them. And so once they get here, they're received by voluntary organizations that are then the immigrants are actually placed in particular cities according to those cities that have relatives or family members. And if that's not available, then they are tried and put in places where there are other Afghan communities that can serve as support networks for these immigrants once the support from the government and these voluntary organizations subsides.
Now, certainly the importance of these Afghanis is that if the Taliban makes that connection, that they worked with Americans or fought alongside Americans, certainly they could be in grave danger in their homeland. But certainly coming to the United States can't be easy either. Can you tell us a little bit about what that experience is like, not just the settling, but being part of a new community?
Yeah, I mean, even before they get here, it's such a traumatic situation, especially for the children and the younger ones that are coming over with their mothers and fathers who worked for us. When they get here, it's a whole new place. Just imagine being ripped out of your home and being told that you're going to go to a foreign place that many of these people never even knew. And so it can be very traumatic. And, this situation is something that the experts at, refugee agencies like IRIS are dealing with on a daily, have dealt with, for decades. And so, we have experts here that are willing and ready to welcome them in and to try to integrate them into our community.
Now, as an expert in this topic, if you saw the news coverage over the last few weeks, some of the dramatic pictures, Afghans hanging from American cargo planes, tossing babies over razor wire fences, hoping, Marines on the other side would catch them. Were you surprised by the level of desperation and what we saw as the government, the U.S.-backed government crumbled so quickly?
Yeah, the level of desperation really didn't surprise me at all. These are people that have basically taken sides in this dispute against the Taliban, taken sides on the American side. And so you can imagine what their fears are that the Taliban, which is a ruthless organization, terrorist organization, will do to them. On the American side, I was surprised at the tone deafness, I would say, initially of the Biden administration, to some extent, the lack of planning in what happened and how it unfolded. You would have thought that the United States government would have planned for this, one of these worst case scenarios to play out, but it didn't seem like they were ready. It seemed like they were caught flat-footed and only were pushed into it once the public turned against them.
And in looking at this as an expert, I mean, obviously we saw President Trump, when he was in office, announce that this move was happening. President Biden here as it is, but it sounds like you think the Biden administration really screwed this up.
In a lot of ways, the Biden administration was dealt a really bad hand by the Trump administration, and just by the fact that, this bureaucracy that is the special immigrant visa program, which is an improvement on what it was, can just take so long. And the problem was that there was a bottleneck there in vetting a lot of these Afghan refugees, taking months, years to take place. And when you have a sudden rush of potential SIV applicants, Afghans, at the airport. And, this process normally takes years to play out. You can understand why the chaos there, right? They should have had a plan for that situation, maybe, right? And we can always second guess. They should have just said, you know what, let's go ahead and pre-verify these people, send them to a third country location, and then continue the vetting process there, which is generally what they're doing now. Probably should have happened from the beginning, but I think that's where the tone deafness and being caught flat-footed, stands.
Understood. So those folks who have gotten to the United States, what's their status? Are they green card holders? Are they on a path to permanent citizenship? How does that process work once they've been vetted and get here?
So yeah, they are legal residents, and they will, once they get here, have 5 years to stay in the United States to then apply for U.S. citizenship. They are not citizens when they get here, but that's part of the process that volunteer agencies like IRIS, which are resettlement agencies, helping refugees resettle, and community partners are there to help these citizens get on their 2 feet, get the basic needs, and if they like, get on a pathway to citizenship.
Only about 30 seconds left, Dr. Haynes. If someone's watching at home, doesn't know a lot about this situation like you do, what's a key milestone you'll be watching for in the coverage from overseas?
Yeah, the key milestone is just hopefully the lack of any more violence, the lack of any more issues at the actual airport, and just to see where the United States goes with this. I think it's going to be important that the metric should be to get all Americans home and to try to get as many Afghan allies home as possible. Whether that's possible, I'm not entirely sure, but we'll be tracking that.
All right, Dr. Chris Haynes from the University of New Haven, we appreciate you being with us this morning and sharing your expertise, and we'll be watching that process as well. Thank you. Coming up, honoring the brave who lost their lives in the line of duty. We're talking with 3 Connecticut men who will be cycling their way from Boston to New York City in the Tour de Force Memorial Ride. That's coming up right after this break.